Well, guys, welcome back. We're looking at parabolas or quadratic functions, and we looked at the grade 10 versions. What we saw, if you look at this graph, you might have, I'm just going to revise them quickly, you might have a graph of y equals x squared, and that was a very happy graph, like that. And now we've got y equals negative x squared, which is a very sad graph, this one going here. And remember, you can, another symbol for y could be fx, it could be hx, all of those referred to as y. And what happened here is we lifted this graph, we actually took the negative x squared and we added 4, so we affected the y values by jumping it up. Very important for matric. Okay, so guys, watch out for that. And by the way, another thing that's quite interesting, particularly the grade 11s here, how do you get, if you've lifted up this graph, if you've actually lifted this up here, how do we get the x-intercept? We know the y-intercept is 0, 4. That's no problem because that's where x equals 0. Okay, and if x is 0, the y is 4. But how would we get the x-intercept of that graph, of this one here? Pretty straightforward. Watch this. Okay, if you look at this, well, the x-intercepts you, and there's your graph px, so we let the y equal 0. Now, what is y? That's important. This thing is y. Okay, and you're going to let y be 0. Okay, because on the x-axis, the y is 0. So if you let it be equal to 0, have a look here. 0 is equal to minus x squared plus 4. And grade 11s, this is easy. You pop it across, and we can then square roots and get plus minus 2. And that gives us the x-intercepts of that graph. Check it out. If we go to the graph of P, there are your x-intercepts. Your y-intercept, of course, as you can see, was 4 there. And this is the graph of y equals negative x squared plus 4. Y-intercept is that number there, and your x-intercept, you let the y be 0. What a pleasure. Okay, let's move on. Some wonderful maths here. Okay, now if we go into grade 11, let's have a look at this. The graph of x plus 1 squared minus 4. Okay, now I'm going to go straight into this example. Very important. Watch this. The most important thing, grade 11s, that you've got to do, and in fact grade 12s, is to understand, is this happy or sad? Now, the number outside here is 1, and what that tells me is it's 1 which is positive. It means the graph is happy. That's one of the most important things to know what your graph looks like. Okay, now check this out. The next thing, do you remember grade 11's, the axis of symmetry? Now how this works, very simply, I'm going to go to this very quickly now. You take that guy in the brackets, now I'm going to circle him, and you put him equal to 0. This is a strategy that always works. Now, I know your teachers will go into a lot of detail with this, but I'm getting to the point very quickly. Your axis of symmetry is a line that divides the parabola into 2 equal parts. Now, stay with us. So circle that guy. Okay, it's bracket squared minus 4. If you solve for x, this line x equals minus 1 is going to be a very important line. In fact, what it does, if I just draw this quickly, if you look at this graph, your normal, okay, your parabola, if you think about it, your x squared, this is the graph of y equals x squared, is going to shift. Now, when you get to minus 1, this is important. If you go to minus 1 here, this is the line x equals minus 1. The parabola is actually shifting to the left. This guy shifts. And this is the new axis of symmetry. It's what divides the parabola into 2 parts. And this minus 4 is going to shift the graph up. So not only are we going to get a left shift, we're going to get a movement upwards. But now watch this. This is important. We always do that. We get our axis of symmetry. Now the turning point looks like this. The axis of symmetry passes through the x coordinate of the turning point. So the P is going to be minus 1. And then the Q is negative 4, represents the y coordinates of the turning point. Therefore, the coordinates of the turning point are minus 1 and 4. Now, I'm going to go back a little bit to the picture here. If you look at this guy is going to give me my x value of the turning point, which is actually, if you think of that parabola there, the x value is going to be minus 1. Okay, this here is going to be the y value of the turning point. So if you look at your parabola, this guy over here, the turning point is -1, -4. So you put that expression in the bracket equals 0, solve for x, gives you the -1 there, and the y value of the turning point is that. Okay, so that's important. So we've got our little y value of the turning point, and we get our coordinates there. So the other thing, a y-intercept of a graph, we let x be 0. So plug it in, the x goes 0. 0 plus 1 squared gives you the -3 there. Okay, x-intercepts, let y be 0. Now, if you do this, all you got to do is multiply this out. So it's x squared plus 2x plus 1. Okay, and you've got 1 minus 4 there, okay, which gives you, of course, -3. Okay, very easy. Factorize that guy. Okay, you factorize him, and x is -3 or 1. So those are your x-intercepts. Now the magic starts, people. So y-intercept, you let x be 0. X-intercepts, let the y be 0. And you get your axis of symmetry. Now look at this. That is your axis of symmetry. X is -1. How did I get it? X plus 1 in the bracket equals 0. We've got our little y value. So our little turning point is -1, -4, because it's the mother graph is shifted left and down. There's your x. That's your y-intercept, 0, -3. There's your 2 x-intercepts. And guess what? We've got then the equation. We draw it, and we call it f, and we've got a happy chappy, and there we go. Stay with us, guys. Grade 11s and 12s, we're going to do some more maths on the tricks uploaded. Don't go away.